What's going on, y'all? It's your boy H Dog, and I'm back here again with another video. And recently, there was a bunch of Death Stranding information that was revealed. First off, there will be a Death Stranding art book, which is available for pre-order right now. Um, Hideo Kojima made a tweet about Bridges and the characters that's been in the character spotlight trailers. Quote, Bridges was formed to reconnect the fractured society. Mama, Heartman, Deadman are unique characters and the members of Bridges that support Sam. And BB with Sam takes his journey from east to west forcefully. Those including Sam have sad story behind them. Please watch their videos. He made another tweet regarding the genre of Death Stranding. Quote, I knew that the name of the genre shouldn't be made from the creator, but it should come with it later on, but forgive me, I just like to name it. It's like I named tactical espionage action for Metal Gear before categorizing it into stealth game. I named social strand system for Death Stranding. Another tweet he put out was about first person and stealth, saying, quote, since I get this question a lot, Death Stranding is different from stealth game. You can enjoy first person view, but not a first person shooter game. It's a brand new game genre that adapted the concept of strand that we call action game strand game, social strand system. Music artists Khaled Churches and Major Lazer have joined on to produce music for Death Stranding Timefall. Apparently, Churches visited Kojima Productions a couple months back, and it's possible more artists will join in on the project. Timefall is a collection of new music from artists, producers, and musicians who have been inspired by the world of Death Stranding. The album is made up of music inspired by the game. It will be available November 8th, the same day as the game launches. In a two-part interview that was done by a French YouTuber, Julien Cheze, I hope I'm pronouncing his name right, whom had a one-on-one interview with Hideo Kojima at Gamescom. The interview was translated from French to English and was split into two parts. Quote, the development is coming to an end. How do you feel emotionally and physically? It's very hard. We're battling against time and I'm overseeing production, marketing, and what will come next. I've been working 4 years, but I've been here before and know how it is. Is the publishing of a game comparable to giving birth? 4 years ago, I thought I would never have another baby, but now I feel that feeling again, that mix of suffering and joy of giving life. I cannot be completely satisfied if the players aren't as well. So 4 years ago, you started from scratch. Yes, it was very overwhelming. We were a handful of people in a tiny office, and in June of the same year, we started game design casting without even knowing the whole game. It's like a marathon where the middle is the hardest part. The start is the start is easy. Everyone is full of energy. Then in the middle, you cannot see the end and it feels like there is no end and it's terribly draining. But honestly, the closer we get to the end, the more we see that arrival, which gives us extra strength. So how did it all come to be? To begin with, I had many ideas and concepts, but to be honest, Death Stranding was not the first idea. It was literally the last. There was another game that I had to abandon and I will probably never come back to it. So that is how Death Stranding was born. With Death Stranding, you said you wanted to opt for a brand new, never before seen multiplayer approach. Can you tell us a little more about the social strand system? I'm going to let you down, but I cannot say anything at the moment. All I can say is that it's an open world in which the players will quickly find out that the approach is different. It's going to be hard task and you must reconnect a fractured society and split up humans. You do this with a character who has nothing to do with superheroes. Sam is just by himself and must survive. He has no special power. The more you play, the more you will notice that he isn't the only one in this situation. At launch, there will probably be millions of people who will play and you will be connected to something. Something? Yes, it's like Miles Morales in the Spider-Man Spider-Verse. Miles thinks he's the only Spider-Man, then different characters from different alternate dimensions also become Spider-Man and meet up all of a sudden. Miles is not alone. Honestly, I think like when it comes to that part per se, it kind of reminds me of the upcoming Dying Light 2 as well, in the sense that Timon Spectacular even said at one point that because the game's gonna have co-op, so you can hop into different players' worlds, and like I wonder if it's something like that where you can hop into uh, one player's world and it looks completely different from the one that you're in, or the one you're doing. I think it could be something like that, or it could be like a different type of multiverse going on within Death Stranding. Like we see different versions of Sam. I don't know if that's like through the multiplayer aspect or just like throughout the story you see a different version of Sam. You may see a more evil Sam, you may see a more nicer Sam, you may see a more corporate Sam. But that's just my theory as far as I can tell. Of course, Death Stranding will be different, but it's a clue towards what the game is about. Sorry, but I really can't say anymore. Is that okay? And he laughed when he said that. It's frustrating, but at least we don't have much time to wait. Don't get me started. Sometimes while browsing Twitter, I see people posting countdowns to release date. I told myself there are not many days left. It makes me think of rockets before countdown, but it's a good kind of stress. You bring up your age quite often and say that tomorrow is in your hands. What message do you want to send with Death Stranding? I believe we have changed era. In the past, I worked for a big company, but now it's all different. I became independent and that works. I believe he's directly referring to Julian, whoever that is. People are more connected to the net and AI are getting better. We will need intermediaries less and less. I think that this movement constitutes a real freedom for creators. The goal is to connect between creators and players. We could go with big companies and intermediaries, but we took our own independence. I'm 56 and I could have gone into a pension in a few years, but I decided to fund my independent studio. Many say if you are a game designer and you quit a big company, you're fucked and it's finished. All my friends and wife told me I was crazy. Then again, I did not hesitate. I was confident in what I wanted to do and continued doing what I always did. The only difference being the indie status. I just wanted to prove that it's all possible. You say you are indie but are still financed by Sony? Yes, it's a state of mind. When I was a kid, I wanted to become an astronaut. This year is the 50th of the Apollo. Think about it. 50 years ago, many people got together and accomplished something unimaginable. They landed on the moon and returned alive. They made the impossible possible. Many people stopped their difficulties by saying, I'm not going to make it. Then there are the pioneers and explorers. So when I compare my difficulties with those of the Apollo, I laugh and tell myself I can do more. Speaking of the moon, by following you on Twitter, it's easy to see your fascination with it. Is it present in your company trailer with the Ludens mascot? Would you like to go there one day? Honestly, I would love to be in space and look at Earth, not necessarily the moon. But to do that, I would have to get rid of my family and my job, and Sony would not be happy with that. Which he was laughing when he was saying this. For Death Stranding, I was heavily inspired by Kobo Abe's novel The Rope. We discovered that the dawn of humanity, we use the stick to repel problems and fight. Some of your games use the stick mechanic. Yes, because it's our primal instinct to use any form of weapon. But returning to humanity, the second invention was the rope, which, on the contrary, is used to keep what we love closer. Death Stranding fits into this philosophy. The imagery of the hands in the trailers reflects the connections and the strands in the logo on the ropes that hold us together. Death Stranding carries an opposite deal. It will push you to make connections with other people, which could change your view on the world. Pushing the players to question who we are and where we are going, that is my ambition for the game. Your game carries a political message. Many creators say their games don't include political messages. That has always surprised me. Whenever you create something, it carries a message. When I was young, the mangas I read regurgitated messages at me, and I grew up with them. Mangas nowadays are like Hollywood movies. They are marketed well, and well calibrated ingredients are injected in them. Today, at my age, I don't make my games for money in the time I have left. I will concentrate in making something new that stimulates reactions in others. To use the example from before, to who to those who are not interested in going to the moon, imagine going to Mars or seeing Jupiter. I want to invite the new generations to ask these kinds of questions. The critical and commercial destiny of Death Stranding will be crucial for this message. Well, since I'm an indie studio, Jay can make small video games that are fast to produce. I spoke with Guillermo del Toro, and he talked me out of it. He told me continue making AAA games in an open, stunning world. That's what people look for in a Hideo Kojima game. So when I started following my instincts, the hardest part was game design, since it is something that has never been done before. I also know my fans are expecting a great story. If this game does not do well, Death Stranding will fail to show you what I want you to see. In an interview with a German website for players, which I used Google Translate to get the English version, Hideo Kojima was asked about why he felt the need to start a new genre. As with the stealth games I created, I always wanted to create something new. I believe that this is my destiny. If I had to create something that already exists, I think that it should not come from me. I'm not saying no to the other games out there, but when it comes to me, I want to create something new. That's why I wanted to create this genre. He also was asked about what's the biggest challenge when creating an open world. Well, after experiencing an action game in an open world, you cannot just go back to other things. That's what I thought because of the interactivity. Of course, there are other ways to make a game, a linear game for example. However, I cannot go back after having had the experience of having a large scale world in a game. The problem, however, is the technology. Of course, it has technically difficult to create an open world. The player has the greatest possible freedom in an open world. Therefore, you are never really sure what the player will do. In this context, storytelling in an open world game is the biggest challenge. As there is more and more freedom, it means that the story sometimes gets in the way of a distraction. So in Phantom Pain, I started with a kind of experiment by starting linear, and once the world opens, the story fades in one way. Some Hideo Kojima fans were not happy about the story takes a back seat, but this was done very consciously. This time was the biggest challenge and the biggest obstacle. It's an open world, but at the same time, we do not want to reduce the importance of the story, so fans of Hideo Kojima games will not be disappointed. Well, that was a lot of information that we went over. I ain't gonna say I understand what's going to be going on with Death Stranding entirely, but it's something like I think I can understand a tad bit more, not all the way. And we know how Hideo Kojima is. He's gonna speak in riddles every time he's interviewed. So it's like something you really gotta think about when he talks about connecting and using the rope and the stick. But yeah, if you guys want to read all the information that I just went over, I will have links to them in the description box. And let me know what you thought about all this information in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button, subscribe, and tap the notification bell to be updated on gaming news like this. And until next time, I'm out. Peace.